Is NGSS just another set of standards? Think again. We're talking hands-on, minds-on learning that changes how students see the world and how you teach it. Ready to level up your science classroom? Stick with us as we explore the 3 dimensions of NGSS and how they can revolutionize your teaching. Welcome to Science Solutions, the podcast where we help educators like you bring more curiosity, engagement, and deeper learning into science classrooms. I'm Kim, a former middle school science teacher who's been through the challenges and rewards of embracing the next generation science standards, or NGSS.
And I'm Elizabeth, a former elementary teacher turned science enthusiast. Today we're diving into how NGSS transforms teaching and learning. And we're going to go ahead and start by focusing on the heart of it all, the 3 dimensions. These are the disciplinary core ideas, the science and engineering practices, and the cross-cutting concepts.
If you're ready to inspire your students to think and act like scientists and engineers, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
All right, Kim, so let's start with the basics. NGSS is all about empowering students to become curious, engaged problem solvers, right?
I like to think of NGSS meaning like not your grandma's science standards, because science has gotten a level up. Instead of just memorizing facts, and students are engaged in the actual science that scientists are doing with their hands and their minds. They're uncovering the why and the how behind real world phenomena.
Yeah, it's that shift from teaching at students in that lecture style to really teaching with them. We are giving them the tools that they need to ask questions, investigate, and really develop solutions on their own.
And that's what makes NGSS such a game changer. It's not just about what students are learning, it's about how they learn. But here's the thing. It's not just a shift for the students, it's a big shift for teachers too. And sometimes feeling that change can be very daunting.
And that is why we are here, to break it down and make it a whole lot more manageable for you.
All right, so let's unpack these 3 dimensions of NGSS, because these are the building blocks of this approach.
So first we have the disciplinary core ideas, or the DCIs. So these are what you think of typically when you think of science content, right? This would be the old part of the standards. These are going to be things like energy, ecosystems, forces and matter. But what makes the DCIs really different is that they're designed to be relevant and applicable to student lives.
Right, so the DCIs focus on the 4 domains of science. There's physical science, life science, earth and space science, and engineering, technology, and application of science.
And what is really great is that these DCIs are scaffolded across grade levels. So what a student learns about forces, for example, in 3rd grade is really building towards this more advanced concept that they'll get to in both middle school and high school.
So the key here is the coherence. It's not about teaching isolated facts, it's about building a deeper understanding over a long period of time.
All right, so that's kind of just an overview of those DCIs. So now let's jump into the SEPs, or the science and engineering practices. These are the skills that students use to actually do science and transform themselves into scientists and engineers in the classroom.
So there are 8 core practices that include asking questions, using models, analyzing and interpreting data, engaging in argument from evidence, and much more.
When students engage in SEPs, they aren't just learning about science, they're actually doing it. So instead of reading about ecosystems, they might actually build a model of a food web, or investigate how changing one factor is going to impact the entire system.
The SEPs give students a voice. They get to ask questions, defend their ideas, and collaborate like real scientists and engineers do.
So finally, that 3rd pillar that we have of this NGSS are crosscutting concepts, or CCCs. So these are going to be those big ideas that connect the different disciplines of science that we talked about earlier.
These concepts help students see patterns and relationships across different domains of science. There are 7 key CCCs, including, but not limited to, patterns, cause-effect, and structure and function.
And what I really love about these cross-cutting concepts is that they really are the piece that helps students connect the dots and make sense of everything. So for example, the concept of cause and effect applies whether you're studying a chemical reaction or weather patterns.
When students use the CCCs intentionally, it gives them a framework for making sense of complex ideas. I just was doing some reading about the CCCs, and when you frame the learning that way, the information is stored in a part of the brain that's there for long-term retrieval. So this is going to help students be able to make those transfer tasks and be able to apply what they're learning.
Right, and not only apply it today, but apply it hopefully in the future as well.
Mm-hmm.
So great. Okay, so now, we've talked about these disciplinary core ideas, the cross-cutting concepts, the science and engineering practices, but now let's talk about, bringing this all together in your classroom. So this all sounds good and dandy, but it can feel overwhelming and daunting. So if I want to make it work with what I already have, what can I do?
Well, first start with a real world phenomena. Something, think about the things that really might excite or be of interest to your students, making it relevant to them. Build your lessons around those things.
Okay, so if I'm thinking about ways to integrate these 3 dimensions into my lessons, I want to start with some sort of phenomena to introduce whatever disciplinary core idea you're trying to get at. So I might show students an image of a coral bleaching event to spark some curiosity about ecosystems, if that's where I want to go. Then I can incorporate some sort of science and engineering practice, like having students plan and carry out an investigation to model the conditions that actually affect coral health. I might also want to highlight a cross-cutting concept such as cause and effect to help them explain why changes in water temperature, for example, actually lead to the bleaching. So all of these different ideas come together to create my unit.
And remember, it's okay to start small. Pick one phenomena or one SEP or one cross-cutting concept and focus on and build it from there. If you're using high-quality instructional materials, the 3 dimensions should already be part of it.
The really great thing about NGSS is that it is flexible. You don't have to make the shift of instruction all at once. Like Kim said, start with 1 unit. Choose a lesson and examine it to see if the 3 dimensions are present. If they're not, see what you can do to help pull in some of those different science and engineering practices or cross-cutting concepts to make it more engaging for students.
And you know what the best part is? When students are excited and engaged, I am too. As their teacher, I want to see that happen. So it makes it so much more rewarding.
We really do hope that you enjoyed today's episode and you are feeling more confident about diving into NGSS. The 3 dimensions, disciplinary core ideas, science and engineering practices, and cross-cutting concepts are really powerful tools that you can use to transform your teaching and inspire your students.
And remember, you're not alone in this journey. You do an amazing job every day, and every step you take helps your students see themselves as scientists and problem solvers.
Thanks for tuning in to Science Solutions. If you found it useful, share it with a colleague and subscribe to get notified when our next episode comes out. Sign up to receive Science Solutions in your inbox to access resources, reflection questions, and actionable insights.
Until next time, keep inspiring your students and making shift happen. You've got this.